I was 29 when my family decided I existed solely to serve their ambitions. It started subtly as these things always do. A request here, a favor there. Maya, can you handle the catering for this client dinner? Maya, we need someone to coordinate the photography for Dad's retirement party. Maya, you're so good at organizing. Can you just take care of the venue booking? I worked as a freelance event coordinator, which apparently translated in my family's mind to free labor available 24/7 for family projects. They never paid me, never even offered. It was always framed as helping the family, or being a team player, or my personal favorite. This is what family does for each other. Except the help only flowed one direction. My brother Derek, the golden child, had spent the last 3 years developing what he called the next revolutionary tech platform, a blockchain-based supply chain management system. I didn't fully understand it, and honestly I don't think he did either. But he talked about it constantly with the unearned confidence of someone who'd never actually failed at anything because the family had always caught him. My parents had invested their retirement savings into his venture. My uncle Robert contributed a 6-figure sum. My sister Vanessa quit her stable marketing job to become Derek's chief brand officer. The whole family had gone all in on Derek's vision. And then 6 weeks ago, Derek announced they'd secured a massive funding round and were planning a launch event to officially unveil the platform to investors, potential clients, and media. We're talking 400 people, Derek said at Sunday dinner, his eyes gleaming. Venture capitalists from 3 different firms. Tech journalists from major publications. Corporate executives who could become our first enterprise clients. This isn't just a party, Maya. This is the moment that defines our family's legacy. Sounds incredible, I said, genuinely happy for him despite everything. When is it? March 15th, 6 weeks away. He paused, glancing at our parents. And we need you to organize it. I set down my fork. What? Organize the launch event, Mom clarified as if I hadn't understood. Derek's team is busy finalizing the platform. Vanessa is handling the branding and messaging. Your father and I are managing the investor relations. We need someone to handle all the logistics. All the logistics, I repeated slowly. Venue, catering, audiovisual, stage design, guest management, security, transportation coordination, media check-in, everything. Derek listed off casually as if he were asking me to pick up groceries. You're an event coordinator. This is literally what you do. Yes, for clients. Who pay me. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Dad's expression hardened. We're family, Maya. This isn't about money. Dad, a 400-person corporate launch event would cost a client $50,000 minimum, just for my coordination fee. That's not counting the actual vendor costs, which you're also expecting me to, what? Negotiate? Manage? Pay for myself. We'll cover the vendor costs, Uncle Robert interjected. Obviously. We just need your time and expertise. My time and expertise are how I pay my rent, I said quietly. I'd have to turn down paying clients for the next 6 weeks to focus on this full-time. We're talking about a $50,000 value of work. $50,000? Vanessa laughed, actually laughed. Maya, come on. You make some calls, send some emails, show up on the day to make sure everything runs smoothly. Don't be dramatic. I looked at her, this sister who'd never organized anything more complex than a birthday brunch, and felt something cold settle in my chest. You think that's all event coordination is? I think you're trying to extort your own family, Derek said, his voice sharp. This is our moment, Maya. Our family's future. And you're sitting here talking about money like some mercenary. I'm talking about my career. My livelihood. Your career of planning parties? Vanessa air quoted the word, smirking. Derek is building an actual company. A real business that's going to change an entire industry. And you can't even support your own brother for 6 weeks. Mom reached across the table, placing her hand over mine. Her voice was gentle, which somehow made it worse. Sweetheart, we understand you have your little business. But this is bigger than that. This is family legacy. Derek's success will benefit all of us, including you. When his company goes public, we'll all be taken care of. But right now he needs us. He needs you. My little business pays my bills, Mom. Barely, Dad muttered. The word hung in the air like poison. What was that? I asked. Dad sighed, setting down his wine glass. Maya, let's be honest. You're 30 years old, still renting a studio apartment, driving a 10-year-old car, no retirement savings that we know of. Your event planning hasn't exactly made you successful. This is an opportunity to be part of something that actually matters. Something substantial. I'm profitable. I'm independent. I don't take money from anyone. No, you just hoard your time and energy like Scrooge hoarding gold, Vanessa said. God forbid you actually contribute to this family. I've contributed, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. I organized Mom's 60th birthday party. For free. I coordinated Dad's retirement celebration. For free. I planned your wedding, Vanessa. For free. I've given this family hundreds of hours of unpaid labor over the years. And we're grateful, Mom said quickly. But this is different. This is Derek's future. And my future doesn't matter? Don't be selfish, Uncle Robert said, his tone disappointed. We all make sacrifices for family. I looked around the table at their faces, expectant, entitled, completely certain of their right to my time, my skills, my life. Derek sat back in his chair with his arms crossed, waiting for me to fall in line like I always did. Vanessa was already scrolling on her phone, the matter clearly settled in her mind. Mom and Dad wore matching expressions of patient disappointment, like I was a child throwing a tantrum over bedtime. And in that moment I made a decision. Okay, I said simply. I'll do it. Derek's face lit up. Seriously? You'll organize the whole launch? Mom asked, hope flooding her voice. Every detail, I confirmed, my voice calm and steady. Venue, catering, AV, stage design, security, media coordination, guest management, transportation. Everything. I'll make sure your launch event is unforgettable. That's my girl. Dad beamed, raising his glass. See? This is what family does. We support each other. To Derek's launch, Uncle Robert toasted. And to Maya for stepping up. They all clinked glasses, celebrating my capitulation. I smiled and sipped my wine, already planning my escape. The next 6 weeks were a masterclass in theatrical compliance. I took Derek's requirements seriously on the surface. I scheduled meetings with venue managers, met with caterers, interviewed AV companies, consulted with stage designers. I created elaborate spreadsheets tracking every vendor, every timeline, every detail. I sent daily update emails to Derek and the family, comprehensive reports that made it look like I was working around the clock. And I was working around the clock. Just not on their launch. See, what my family never understood about event coordination is that the real work isn't making calls and sending emails. It's building relationships, establishing trust, creating contracts that protect everyone involved, coordinating dozens of moving parts into a synchronized dance that happens exactly when and how it's supposed to. It takes expertise. It takes experience. It takes time. And it takes actual commitment. I did meet with the Peninsula Hotel's event manager, a woman named Patricia whom I'd worked with on 3 previous high-end corporate events. We did discuss Derek's launch. I showed her the scope, the guest count, the requirements. This is easily a $200,000 event, Patricia said, scrolling through my notes. Venue rental, catering for 400, premium bar service, full AV production, stage construction, security, valet service, event insurance. Is your brother's company covering this? They're expecting me to coordinate everything, I said carefully. She looked up, confused. Coordinate or pay for? That's the question, isn't it? Patricia had been in the industry for 20 years. She understood immediately. Maya, you can't front $200,000 for a family favor. I'm not going to, I assured her. I just need you to understand that I'm showing you this, but there won't actually be a contract. I won't be putting down any deposits. I won't be signing anything. So you're documenting that I explored the options, I said. I'll send my brother a proposal with your venue. I'll CC you on the email. He'll see that I did the work, that I found the perfect location, that I provided all the details. What he does with that information is his responsibility. Patricia smiled slowly. You're good. I'm done being used. I repeated this pattern with every vendor. I met with Elite Catering Company and got a detailed proposal for past hors d'oeuvres, a 3-course seated dinner, premium bar service, and a dessert display. Cost, $68,000. I sent it to Derek with my professional recommendation. I consulted with Prestige AV about their full production package. Staging, lighting, sound system, projection mapping, LED screens, live streaming capability. Cost, $45,000. I forwarded the proposal to Derek, noting that they'd need a 50% deposit within 2 weeks to secure the date. I interviewed 3 security companies and sent Derek a comparison chart. I got quotes from 5 different florists. I researched transportation coordination for VIP guests. I created a minute-by-minute timeline for the event, a 47-page document that detailed every single element from vendor load-in at 6 a.m. to venue breakdown at midnight. I sent everything to Derek. Every proposal, every quote, every contract, every decision point that required his signature or his credit card. And Derek, busy finalizing the platform, ignored every single one. "Looks great, Maya," he'd text back. "You're killing it. Just handle whatever needs handling. Derek, the venue needs a $30,000 deposit by Friday or we lose the date. Can you just put it on your card? We'll reimburse you after the funding round closes." "The funding round you're announcing at this event?" "Exactly. You get it. Just handle it, sis. You're the best." He actually thought I was going to pay $200,000 out of my own pocket, money I didn't have, for his vanity launch event, on the vague promise of reimbursement at some undefined future date. I didn't argue. I just didn't pay anything. 2 weeks before the launch, Patricia from the Peninsula called me. "Maya, I haven't received the deposit. Are we still on for March 15th? Has Derek contacted you directly?" I asked. "No. I've sent 3 emails. All unanswered." "Then I guess we're not on," I said calmly. "Should I release the date?" "That's probably wise." She hesitated. "Maya, I have to ask. Are you actually coordinating this event?" "I'm coordinating exactly as much as I'm being paid to coordinate," I said. "Which is $0. So I'm coordinating 0 event." "But your brother thinks." "My brother thinks event planning is making some calls and sending some emails. My brother thinks my expertise has no value. My brother expects me to risk $200,000 of debt for his benefit while contributing nothing himself. So my brother is going to learn a very expensive lesson about the difference between planning an event and pretending to plan an event." Patricia was quiet for a moment. Then, "Good for you. Thanks. And Patricia? When he calls you in a panic the week of the event, asking why nothing is booked, your price is just doubled. Charge him the emergency rush fee for everything." She laughed. "I like the way you think." I had similar conversations with every vendor over the next 2 weeks. The caterer released our date. The AV company booked another event. The security firm scheduled a different client. The florist allocated their inventory elsewhere. One by one, every element of Derek's unforgettable launch event evaporated into nothing. And I kept sending him updates. Confirmed venue details with Peninsula. They're ready for us. They had no booking. Finalized catering menu with Elite. It's going to be incredible. No contract existed. AV production is locked in. The stage design is perfect. They'd never received a deposit. Derek barely read these emails. He was too busy rehearsing his keynote speech, preparing his demo, practicing his pitch for the investors. He was so focused on the content of the event that he never once verified that the event itself actually existed. Neither did anyone else in my family. Mom asked me once, 3 days before the launch, "Sweetheart, is everything on track?" "Everything is exactly as it should be," I told her. Which was true. Everything was exactly as it should be when you don't actually plan or pay for an event. "I'm so proud of you for stepping up," she said, hugging me. "Derek is going to be so grateful." "I'm sure he will be," I agreed. On March 10th, 5 days before the launch, I bought a plane ticket to Barcelona. One way. Departing March 14th at 11 p.m. I'd been planning this for longer than 6 weeks actually. I'd been saving for 2 years to take an extended trip through Europe, working remotely while exploring cities I'd always dreamed of seeing. My freelance business was 100% digital. I could coordinate events from anywhere with Wi-Fi. The family's exploitation of my time and skills had simply accelerated my timeline and solidified my resolve. I wasn't just escaping the launch event. I was escaping them. On March 13th, I sent my final email to the family group chain. Launch day tomorrow. Everything is ready. This is going to be the event of the year. Can't wait to see Derek's vision come to life. So proud of our family. Derek responded with a gif of someone popping champagne. Vanessa sent 3 fire emojis. Dad replied, "That's our Maya. Always coming through." That evening, I packed my 2 suitcases, cleaned out my studio apartment and left my keys with my landlord. I'd already given notice. I wouldn't be renewing my lease. Everything I owned was either coming with me or going into storage. At 8 p.m. on March 14th, I turned off my phone and headed to the airport. At 11 p.m., I boarded a flight to Barcelona. At 6 a.m. Eastern Time on March 15th, the morning of the launch, I was somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, sleeping peacefully in my economy seat, my phone powered off and packed deep in my carry-on. I didn't see the texts. I didn't hear the calls. I didn't read the emails. But I heard about them later. Or did I hear about them? According to my friend Rachel, the only person outside my family who knew my plan. This is what happened. 6:15 a.m. Derek arrived at the Peninsula Hotel with Vanessa and his tech team to begin setup. The front desk had no record of any event booking under his name or his company name. 6:20 a.m. Derek called me. Straight to voicemail. 6:22 a.m. Derek asked to speak to the manager. Patricia came down and very professionally explained that they'd never received a deposit, so no event was scheduled. She showed him the emails she'd sent me, all unanswered. She showed him the proposal I'd forwarded to him, which he'd never signed or responded to. 6:25 a.m. Derek called me 6 times in a row. All voicemail. 6:30 a.m. Vanessa called me. Voicemail. Mom called. Voicemail. Dad called. Voicemail. Uncle Robert called. Voicemail. 6:35 a.m. Derek tried to book the venue for that evening. Patricia quoted him $85,000, the emergency same-day rate. He didn't have $85,000 available. His business account had been depleted funding the platform development. His personal credit cards were maxed out. 6:45 a.m. Derek called the catering company. They had no booking, no contract, no record of our conversation beyond the proposal they'd sent me. Same-day catering for 400 people? If they could even do it, they couldn't. It would cost $120,000. 7 a.m. The AV company had no booking. The florist had no order. The security firm had no contract. The valet service had no reservation. 7:15 a.m. Derek called his investors, his media contacts, his VIP guests. "We're having some technical difficulties with the venue. We might need to postpone." 7:30 a.m. The investors started pulling out. If you can't even organize a launch event, how are you going to manage a complex platform deployment? 7:45 a.m. Tech journalists began tweeting about the chaos. #SupplyChainPro launch event in complete disarray. Company can't even manage their own event logistics. How will they manage client supply chains? 8 a.m. Derek stood in the Peninsula lobby, his phone exploding with cancellations, his sister nowhere to be found, his entire launch event literally non-existent, and 400 people starting to ask questions about why they were receiving event postponed messages. 8:30 a.m. One of the venture capital firms officially pulled their funding commitment. This demonstrates a fundamental lack of operational competence. 9 a.m. Vanessa posted in the family group chat, "Where the hell is Maya?" 9:15 a.m. Dad tried to salvage something by booking a conference room at a nearby Holiday Inn. Capacity, 50 people. Cost, $2,000. He put it on his personal credit card, the one he'd been saving for their anniversary cruise. 10 a.m. Derek gave his keynote presentation to 47 people in a Holiday Inn conference room with a projector that kept overheating, no catering, no stage design, no media coverage, and no investors in attendance. 11:30 a.m. The second venture capital firm pulled their funding. Then the third. 12 p.m. Derek's revolutionary launch event was over. His funding was gone. His media moment had turned into a cautionary tale. His family was frantically trying to reach me. 2 p.m. I landed in Barcelona, still blissfully unaware, my phone still off. I turned my phone on 3 days later, after I'd settled into my Airbnb in the Gothic Quarter, slept off my jet lag and had my first real plate of patatas bravas. 374 missed calls. 842 text messages. 296 emails. I made some coffee, sat on my tiny balcony overlooking the narrow Barcelona street and started reading. Derek, where are you? Derek, nothing is booked. Derek, you ruined everything. Derek, call me now. Derek, my life is over because of you. Vanessa, you selfish bitch. Vanessa, you destroyed Derek's company. Vanessa, I hope you're happy. Vanessa, the whole family knows what you did. Mom, Maya, please call us. We're so worried. We just want to understand what happened. Dad, I'm extremely disappointed in you. This was cruel and vindictive. Call me. Uncle Robert, you've shown your true colors. Don't bother coming to family events anymore. And then, buried in the avalanche, Derek again. The investors pulled out. All of them. My company is dead. 3 years of work. Mom and Dad's retirement savings. Uncle Robert's investment. All gone. Because you couldn't be bothered to do your job. I will never forgive you. I sipped my coffee and composed a single response to the family group chat. I did exactly what I was paid to do. You paid me $0, so I delivered $0 of work. You wanted me to coordinate a $200,000 event for free, expecting me to front all costs on vague promises of future reimbursement. You ignored every proposal I sent, every deadline I highlighted, every decision point that required your action and your money. I sent Derek 47 emails over 6 weeks with vendor proposals, contract deadlines, and deposit requirements. He responded to 4 of them, always with, just handle it, or, put it on your card. I sent the entire family a detailed budget breakdown showing $200,000 in vendor costs. None of you offered to pay a single dollar. You didn't want an event coordinator. You wanted a miracle worker who would manifest a professional corporate launch out of thin air and debt. You wanted me to sacrifice my financial stability, my professional reputation, and my own client obligations for Derek's benefit, while contributing nothing yourselves. So I did contribute nothing. Just like you. I'm in Barcelona. I'll be traveling through Europe indefinitely. Don't contact me unless you're ready to have a real conversation about how this family treats me. And Derek? The difference between your failed company and my little business is that I actually understand the value of professional services. You learned that lesson the hard way. Good luck rebuilding. You'll have to do it without my free labor. I blocked all their numbers and went to get lunch. Rachel filled me in on the aftermath over video calls during my first month in Europe. Derek's company collapsed completely. Without the funding, he couldn't finish platform development. His small team quit when he couldn't make payroll. The revolutionary blockchain supply chain system died before it ever launched. Derek had to move back in with our parents, who now blamed both of us. Him for the failed company, me for the failed launch, neither accepting responsibility for their own role in the disaster. Vanessa's chief brand officer stint lasted exactly as long as Derek's funding. She was back on LinkedIn searching for marketing jobs, her resume now showing a 3-year gap she had to explain to skeptical recruiters. Uncle Robert tried to sue Derek for his investment back. Family dinners became lawyer meetings. The whole thing devolved into a civil suit that drained what little money they had left. Me. I coordinated 3 events from Barcelona in my first month. A destination wedding in Ibiza, a corporate retreat in Madrid, and a product launch in Valencia. All paid in advance. All professionally contracted. All executed flawlessly with local vendors I researched and vetted properly. My little business was thriving. In my second month, I sent one final email to Derek. Just one line. Professional event coordination for a 400-person corporate launch. $50,000. Learning that expertise has value. Priceless. You're welcome for the education. He never responded. 6 months later, I was in Prague coordinating a tech conference when I got a Facebook message from Vanessa. Mom had a heart attack. She's in the hospital. Stable but scared. She's asking for you. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it to maintain the boundary I'd built. But Mom, for all her faults, had never been intentionally cruel. She'd been thoughtless, yes. Entitled, absolutely. But not malicious. I booked a flight home. The hospital room was tense when I arrived. Dad sat in the corner, his face drawn. Vanessa stood by the window, arms crossed. Derek wasn't there. Mom's eyes filled with tears when she saw me. Maya. Hi, Mom. I sat beside her bed, taking her hand. I'm sorry, she whispered. For all of it. I didn't understand. I thought we were just asking for help. I didn't realize we were asking you to sacrifice everything. I know. He's angry. But he's also lost. The company failing broke something in him. That's not my fault, I said gently but firmly. Derek's company failed because he didn't prepare properly, didn't secure his funding correctly, and didn't take professional logistics seriously. The launch disaster was a symptom, not the cause. But if I had just sacrificed $200,000 I don't have, destroyed my own credit and abandoned my paying clients for Derek's benefit? I shook my head. Mom, that wouldn't have saved his company. It would have just destroyed my life too. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you're right. I see that now. I'm sorry it took this for me to understand. I accept your apology, I said. But things are different now. I love you. I'll visit when I can. But I'm not your free labor anymore. I'm not the family's backstop. I have my own life and I'm finally living it. Mom squeezed my hand. Tell me about Barcelona. So I did. I told her about the Gothic Quarter, about coordinating events across 3 countries, about learning Spanish and making friends and discovering that I was actually good at building a life on my own terms. She listened. Really listened. And for the first time I saw something like respect in her eyes. Vanessa left without saying a word. Dad nodded once as I stood to leave, which was probably the closest to an apology I'd ever get from him. Derek never came to the hospital while I was there. I'm writing this from a cafe in Lisbon, 2 years after the launch that never happened. My business has tripled. I coordinate events across Europe now, working with clients who value expertise and pay accordingly. I have savings. I have retirement accounts. I have a life that doesn't revolve around family obligation. Derek eventually found a job at a mid-sized tech company. Not a founder, just an employee. I heard through Rachel that he's doing okay, but the shine is gone. He doesn't talk about revolutionary platforms anymore. Vanessa got married and invited me to the wedding. I declined. She hired a professional event coordinator and paid them appropriately. Mom recovered from her heart attack. We video chat once a month. Our relationship is better now, boundaried but real. Dad and I don't talk. That's fine. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. Letting Derek's launch collapse, watching his company fail, walking away from my family at their moment of crisis. I don't. Because it wasn't their moment of crisis. It was their moment of consequence. They wanted free labor disguised as family loyalty. They wanted professional expertise without professional respect. They wanted me to set myself on fire to keep them warm. And when I finally said no, not with words but with action, they learned what they'd been taking for granted all along. My time has value. My skills have value. My life has value. And I'm done pretending otherwise to make my family comfortable. The launch failed because Derek never planned for it to succeed. He planned for me to sacrifice myself ensuring his success, without ever having to acknowledge what that sacrifice cost me. So I let him fail. And then I flew to Barcelona and finally started succeeding on my own terms. That's not cruelty. That's not revenge. That's just boundaries. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for people who take you for granted is let them experience life without you. Let them discover what they had. Let them learn what they lost. Derek's empire crumbled before it began because it was built on the assumption that he could exploit my labor forever. I'm in Lisbon now, coordinating a 3-day international summit for a client who paid my $50,000 fee up front, who treats me with respect, who values my expertise. Derek is in Mom and Dad's basement applying for jobs and blaming me for his failures. The difference between us is simple. I understand that success requires actual work, actual investment, actual respect for the people who make things happen. Derek thought family obligation could substitute for all of that. He learned otherwise at 6:15 a.m. on March 15th, standing in a hotel lobby with no booking, no event, and no sister willing to save him anymore. And honestly, that's the greatest event I never coordinated,